Okay, welcome back to the HTML template to WordPress theme conversion from Simply Web. Now, we've so far covered a lot of our homepage and we are into the final process and we need to create our project, which is going to be fun because it's got custom taxonomies, filters, custom post types, once again for the second time. So without further ado, let's see where we left off and let's get coding. All right, so here we are. This is the live demo site and this is where we're currently at. We've just finished the newsletter here. So let's close these, leave our front page open, and we want to get our projects. So if we go to our index.html, there we go, and here we are, project start, get everything in within those tags. All right, copy those across. Then in our home page, in our template parts home, we're going to create another one called projects.php. Paste that in. It's format document with intelligence just to keep it nice and clean and neat. And then on our front page, duplicate that form and get our projects. Now if we refresh our local development site, here's our projects coming in. So we're going to work similarly to how we did before with when we did our services, where we're going to pass through each one of these as a separate card. So if we use them later on, we would just call them again and we just pass. If you remember, we set query variable. We're going to cover that off again. So that's how we're going to work it, and we're going to get any terms that are not empty. All right, so let's close our index.html, and what we need to do is where we were before. We used Hasty before. We went to wp-hasty.tools. We went to custom post type generator. We did with services. Now we're going to create a project and projects. And text domain, we're going to call that translate like we did before. We're going to leave everything else as default. We're going to set a title, enter, excerpt, and featured image. And our dash icon for this one, I think might be, we'll use the globe. I want to use the Alt 2 because I can see Australia in the bottom right and I'm in Australia. And then we're going to copy that. We're going to go back over to our code editor, and in our ink folder, we're going to create another file called projects-cpt for custom post type. Sure, we're going to paste that in. If we go to our services, we're just going to get that top section there. Go back up. Enter that in. Now we're going to, once again, we're going to copy that, Control-Shift-L to select all, change that to simply create project custom post type because that needs to be down the bottom here as well. And like we did with our projects, services, sorry, we're going to do that flush rewrite rules so that we don't have to reset the permalinks. Done. So now, we also want to change, we didn't set it over here, we left it as default, but we want to change that to 20. So we go to menu position 5 and change that to 20. So that way when we refresh, it will appear below or above around these. There it is. So it's below the pages. So now we can go in and add all our projects. First we want to create this custom taxonomy. So once again in our generator and custom taxonomy generator, I'm searching for it, taxonomy generator. So this taxonomy will be category, that's what we're going to call it, and categories. But what we need to be careful of is this taxonomy key. Category is already a key. If we go into news, there's the categories here. All right, so we don't want it to be the same as that. So we're going to give it a project category. taxonomy key. So we can label it the same because these are just labels. It doesn't matter what they are, but this is an ID. This is important, so we need to make sure it differentiate it from the post category. So we'll change this to translate again. Leave everything as default. We want to make it hierarchical, and I'll show you why in a second. And we want to turn off tag cloud. We can show the admin column, great, and show in quick edit, and we're going to assign it to our project post type that we've created. Oops, that's just because I clicked on quick add, which you need to register. You got to pay for that, so you can. That's like you can save things and reuse them elsewhere. But that's all we're going to do. So this is all we're going to do for now. So we're going to copy that. We're going to leave it in our project's custom post site because it's assigned to that, and we're all going to once again get that flush reset rules and put that in there. And now, when we refresh here, we've now got the. Oh, why did that not work? Why is that not added? Did I not add it to project? Did I not copy across here? Oh yeah, there. It's registered. No, it didn't. If you see, it's here, but in the code I edited, it's not here. So re-add that in. So now when we do this, there we go. So see how these categories are like this? So if we add web design, so they're checkboxes. Remember when I was talking about the hierarchical? So if we go over to our code and set that hierarchical to false, so it changes. So we're going to leave that as true, and then they're there. So that's the difference between hierarchical and things like that. All right, so we want web design and we want graphic design. Add new category, and we then want UI UX design. Let's add that in as well. Cool. Publish. All right, so this post, we have this post, first one. Digital agency, web design, and add that in. Does it have a description? No. We do have that featured image. So let's have a look. Are these project 1, portfolio 1, portfolio 2, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to have a look at these projects and how they're doing their, so they've got that's the filters. And in here, they are filtering by, there's got to be a filter in there somewhere. Interesting. I'll work that out in a second. It might be, I think it's filtering by class, first and second, and I think that's how they're doing it, passing that class through. So we'll visit that when we get to it. But this one will be portfolio 1, and we'll make this one graphic design and UI UX design. Then we're going to add another one. Oh, they're all the same. They're just the image changes. Okay. So that one, and this one we're going to do web design, and this will be number 2. Publish, and new one. This one, 3. Publish. A new project. 4. I'm just going to pause this while I get all these built. Okay, so I've created all these 6 different projects with the same title. We've got alternating in the categories. So you can see they've all got their featured image. So what we want to do is, over on our live site, we want to, first up, we want to get all our projects, because if there are no projects, we don't want to output anything. So let's create our args like we did with our services. So if you remember, we went to, on the home page, we did this. So we'll just copy that in, shall we? We'll change that to project. We'll call this projects. And if projects, I'll put a spell check. If, and then scroll to the bottom, and let's do an end if. So we're going to output nothing if there are no projects. The next thing we want to do is, we've got these filters. So let's get all our categories. Now, this is a function, a WordPress function called get terms. So if we look at the get terms, so it takes some args. So here you can see, so terms is that. So we're going to do this if, inside the if projects. We're going to work inside there now. So basically we only do anything if there are projects. There's no point in wasting our time and resources getting all the terms and everything like that if it doesn't exist. So if we remember, we called our taxonomy project category. So let's var up that. So yeah, so like I say, there's no point in doing this up above this if projects, because then we're looking for projects, and then we're also looking for terms. So to optimize our code, we're only going to get the terms if projects exist in the first place. So in this get terms, we're passing our taxonomy, which is the custom taxonomy that we created, project category, and we're hiding empty. We're going to set that to true. So basically, if no posts are assigned to that category, it won't show. All right, so cool. Let's go in, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. So if we go and refresh this now, there's our terms. We've got 3. So if we go and add in, so let's go into our projects and go to our category. Let's go and add another category and then hit our refresh. All right, where are we? Here we go. It's still stayed as 3. Whereas if we set that to false, you can see it's updated to 4, because we can see our another category is being output. So that's, but there's no posts assigned to it. If we look in those categories, you can see the post count is 0. So let's just make it true. So we only show ones with posts in them. Cool. So all posts sit in the UI UX design, but 3 are in graphic, 3 are in web. So then what we want to do is we want to come through our loop. So data filter all, we want to leave, because we want to be able to do all. So we're going to go for each terms as term. We will wrap this in an if statement. And I want to just go to do the 1. All right, just comment that out for a second. All right, so then if we var dump the term, oh, did we do terms? We did var dump the term. So now if we So now we can see we've got object, term ID, name. So what we want to do is we want to go data filter will be equal term slash and slug. So why slug? So you can see slug for this first one is graphic design. For the second one, for this one, it's UI UX design. So we want it to be the slug. And then, but for the display, we want to do the actual name. So let's get rid of that var dump now. And now we can see we've got all our UI UX. And then what I want to do, I want to have a look at my get terms. I want to sort. Can I sort by, can I do an order? So order by count. I want to order by name. So can I do that? Can I go order by, see if this is, I don't know if it's title or name, so let's do name, and then we want to put order and put ascending. So we want it in alphabetical order by the name. See if that works. So at the moment, you can, it sort of is actually. It is actually. So it shouldn't change. Does it? It must automatically put it in now. It automatically does. So if I change that, just out of curiosity, if I change that to descending, yeah. So now it does work. So I'm going to leave that in there, just in case, to make sure that even if it gets sorted, customized, like I said, there's drag and drop, it's always going to be in alphabetical order. Cool. So now we've got that, we can get rid of that commented out one. Now we want to loop through our first. Let's go here. If terms. Now we're wrapping that whole section in terms, and if, so this whole section here. Okay, so we'll still show this, but not this if there are no categories. The next thing we want to do is, we've already in if project, so we don't have to do anything like that. So we can see, so we are working in, one. Let's have a look. So if I go to full screen, we are outputting in columns of 3, which is what I was looking at in the code. So you can see here, we've got a row, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then hang on, oh no, it's fine. Oh no, it's fine. Cool. So there we go. So that needs to be where the for each is. So we go in here. We want to go PHP for each projects as project. We're going to set. We're going to go set query variable project, and we're going to set that query variable project to have a value of the project. Now we copy that one, and we're going to go over. This is working the same way we did with our services, where we're passing the query variable to a template part. So in template part, we're going to add projects. oops, mistype that, rename. And then in there we're gonna, in our projects, we're gonna add another file called card.php, and we're gonna format that. Cool. And then we're gonna get, so we're working exactly the same way as we did when we were doing the services. So template part, projects card. Cool. Now I'm going to just go down to this one, and we're going to everything up to that end, that for each. Here, I'm just going to comment that out. So if we refresh our home page, something's gone wrong there. No, here we go. There we go. So we're getting them all, but we're getting all the same ones because we haven't set any query variables. So that's all working. Then, so in our template part for our card, same way we did for our services cards. Remember we worked with this. We got that query variable. So we'll go over to here, projects. We're going to go PHP. Open our PHP tag, and we're going to go project, we're going to get our project, and if there is a project, we'll get the ID. So if we refresh, nothing should have changed now. Or did something go wrong? We've got the error here that we just worked this out. Oh, I haven't finished, I haven't closed off. What about end if? End if. Cool. Refresh. There we go. All right, so the other thing I haven't done is now we're outside of our loop. If you remember when we were in our services, we did this reset post data. So we're going to do that now. So we'll go back down and we'll just drop that in there. Reset post data. I'm just going to leave those commented out code in there for now. Cool. So now we're resetting the post data, because remember I told you every time you do a query you want to make sure you are exiting that query you're in. So in our card, so we want to get our featured image here. So we want to, if we look at this, the size for that is 500 by 400. Have we created that already? No, we haven't. So let's create that one. Scale, we want 500 by 400. Like I said, we do this so that way we're only outputting the size. We're scaling, so the maximum size that we want. We also then will need to go back over to our tools, force regenerate, and just regenerate all those thumbnails. But copy that, we don't need that anymore. So what we want to do is we want to go image. We're not working with an ACF field if you remember rightly. This time we are working with the featured image. So we want to go get the post thumbnail URL, and we want to pass through the ID of the post, this project we're in, which we are signing up here, and we want to assign that size. All right. And then in here, for this image, we don't go if image or anything like that. We want to go, it's different. If we go has post thumbnail, it's a WordPress function. So pass the ID. So if has post thumbnail, pass the ID. Now we want to output the image. Only if there's a post thumbnail. So now in this source, we could just go equal image. And for the alt tag, I'm going to go get the title, pass through the ID. We want the title for this ID, and image. So then the post title, which everyone has the same one, this one, it'll say Digital Agency Website Design Development Image. All right. So if we go and refresh that now, there's our images. Sweet. Now, you can see here, we're passing through another image. So let's go image URL is, and we change that one to full. In fact, I think if I do search that, full might be the default. No, thumbnail is the default. So we want pass full. Full means don't crop it, don't scale it, don't do anything. So here we want to output in this one. How do I want to do that? Let's just Control B. There we go. That just hides Control B just to hide that. And we also want to do the same thing though. We want to wrap that if has post thumbnail. We only want to show this if there is an image to show. Cool. So now if we refresh that, see if the modal's working. View. There we go. We're getting to get the full size image. Sweet. Now we can work on this stuff. So we've got here, we want to, the other icon is just view the link. So we'll go get the permalink and pass the ID to it. So that's that link. We haven't set up the single views yet, so the next thing we want, now we want the category. So here we want to get our terms. So categories. So last time we used get terms. This time we want to use get the terms. And the difference is get terms just is all the terms for that taxonomy. Get the terms are all the terms assigned to that post. So we want the terms that are assigned to each individual project. So you can see it takes a post ID and then a taxonomy. So we're going to go get the terms. We're going to pass through the ID and we want project category. All right. So if we refresh that now, we're not going to see any changes. Now this is where we want to look. So in our filters for our terms, our data filter is not returning a class or anything like that. So let's add that as a class, put the dot in front of it. So the data filter is looking for that class. And then we can go, let's go var dump categories. And if we refresh, we can start to see all our categories. Oops, invalid taxonomy. Oh, there we go. Try that one. There we go. So there's our, see behind there, all our terms. They've all got two. So what we want to do is we want to comma separate our, actually what we can do, we can go filter equals empty. If categories, if we look at the get the terms, is it if get categories or is it if is error? So this is so that's what we want actually. We want them, we don't want to comma separate them, we want to space them. So if we do this, terms, we can change that to filters, and instead of a comma, that should work. So if we go var dump filters, whoops, semicolon needs to go on the outside. If we refresh that now, we should see a categories. Change that. And we don't want the name, we want the slug. Because we want and that's what we want. Cool. So, but let's just go, I still need to put that in an if. I'm sure, yeah, it's that one. So we want to go if terms and no is WP error, because you saw how we got the error before when I incorrectly typed. That's what that was. That's this what this does. Else filters equals empty. So we're going to say, hey, if there's terms and it does return an error, then separate them into a single string with space between, otherwise return it as empty. So then we can go into here and we can just go equals filters. So now let's check if our filters are working. Oh, hang on, we've got an error in there. What's that error? Undefined variable terms. Oh, I call it categories. There we go. So now, if we're right, we're all working. Sweet. So all our filters are working. That's what we wanted. So in the next step we need to do, we're output of the image, we want to output these terms in here as a comma separated. So let's go into here and go do this if same error check. So now we know there's no, but in this time we're going to do the same thing in here, except we will return the name. So we're going to output them as a space string. So if we refresh that, let's do it now. Let's do it as a comma separated string. There we go. So now it's showing as a comma separated string all of our thing. And the last thing we need to do is replace this, which this won't change, with get the title and pass the ID of the title we want to get. Or of course we could go project post title, but I'm just going to do that. There we go. So not, like I said, nothing's going to change there. That's on the home page. They are limiting it, are they? 1, 2, 4, 6. How many have I got? Because it is longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, still 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, weird. Okay. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is this and this. It might be because we haven't got the next section underneath. So let's assign our pre-heading, which we will do the same way we did it over here, ACF field groups, and in the same way we did it for our services. So we're just going to go here, go to edit home, and add in a new field called tab, and we're going to go projects, and we're going to go left aligned. Actually, I'm just thinking about the way we're querying our projects here. I think I might only get 6, and I'm going to take out the order, so it's always going to be the latest projects, and it's only ever going to be 6. Cool. But then we only want the terms that are in that project. Let me have a think about that one for a second. For now, we'll get our pre-heading in. And our heading. We'll save that. And then we can go over to our, actually I'm going to go back to our field, and our projects will be our projects. So then we're going to go in here, we're going to go pre-heading equals get field I'm going to set that as the default. And we want pre-heading, that one. And then we want to do heading equals get field, otherwise be empty, because we're going to allow this one to be heading empty. Do that. And then here we're going to go if pre-heading equals empty, else so if there is no pre-heading, just hard code it. Oops, that one and then that one. Close that off, else output the pre-heading. So that way it's always going to say our projects if it's ever empty. This one, see this again, H1, H2, H1, H2. And we're going to go PHP if heading does not equal empty, we're going to output it, and then we'll get the heading. Alright, save those changes. Then if we update that page, so we go to projects, put that in, update, we'll see no changes here. And there we go. So that's all working now. Okay, so now I want to revisit this terms. So we're getting all the terms. However, and let's say I only get 3 projects, right? Oops. Let's only get 3 projects. Okay, I'm getting all of them. So if I do this, it just so happens that we're getting those ones, the graphic design. So if I go into edit that project and turn that off. So now if I refresh, if I go to graphic design, I'm not getting anything because I'm not getting any posts, any projects in that category because I'm only getting the 3. So what I want to do for my terms is I want to add a filter. So what I'm going to do, I want to get all the IDs for these projects and set them as object IDs in my terms. Alright, so we're going to use a WordPress function called WP list pluck. So I'm going to go project IDs because that's what I'm returning. We're going to go WP list pluck. If we search that function, alright, WP list pluck, we can have a look and see it wants an input, an array, and then it needs a string from what. So you need to pass through the array what field you want to return. Okay, so we want to get the projects and we want to return the ID. So that would be like going in the loop would be project arrow ID. So if we var dump that now, we will get 3 IDs. Project IDs. So if we var dump that now, we refresh, you can see we're getting the 3 IDs for these 3 posts that we're showing. So in our terms, what we want to add in there is object IDs, I think. We'll find out in a second. If graphic design disappears, I mean, I'm doing it right. So, and then from there, we want to pass through the project IDs. Okay, let's just get rid of our var dump. And you can see now, we're only getting the values of these projects. So that worked perfectly. So we can add graphic design back in, refresh, graphic design now appears, and so basically we are only getting these terms for the posts we're getting. So if there's, because there could be, I don't know why I did that. Anyway, there could be multiple posts. There could be 30 projects all assigned to different post types. Go away. All assigned to different post categories. So but we only are using these ones. So we don't want to return empty, if that makes sense. So that fixes that problem of having empty categories when we're only limiting how many posts we get. Okay, so in the next section we are up to some testimonials. So we're going to create another custom post type for these testimonials. We're not going to be using an API to fetch these because then we have to go and set up an API and work out how we're going to get that. We're just going to use a custom post type, so it'll be a manual process of adding in these images. We're going to do something cool. We're going to, if there's no image, we're going to return their name. All right, so let's get started on that in the next video.